You're not here by accident. There is a reason these words are meeting you today, and perhaps the reason is very simple. Some part of you is ready to stop postponing every good feeling until every problem has disappeared. You see, we often make an agreement with ourselves without realizing it. I will relax when this is solved. I will feel happy when that changes. I will feel peaceful when I know what happens next. And then life becomes one long waiting room. So today I want to offer you another possibility. I give myself permission to feel a little lighter now. Notice that I did not say you must feel wonderful. I did not say you must become cheerful immediately. I said a little lighter. That is enough. Permission is very different from pressure. Pressure says, come on, feel better. Permission says, if a little ease is available, I am willing to receive it. And sometimes that small willingness changes the whole atmosphere inside you. The situation may not have changed yet, but your relationship to the moment begins to change. Your breath becomes easier, the shoulders drop, the mind has a little more room. You do not have to wait for perfect circumstances before you allow one peaceful breath. Life is happening now, and some goodness is allowed to reach you now. Think of how much energy we use holding ourselves in a state of tension because we believe tension proves that we care. We think, if I stop worrying, perhaps I am being irresponsible. No, my dear, worry is not the same as responsibility. You can care about something and still drink your tea peacefully. You can have a problem to solve and still enjoy the sunlight. You can be waiting for an answer and still laugh when something is funny. Feeling good for one moment does not mean you have forgotten what matters. It simply means you have stopped giving the problem every available inch of your inner space. Perhaps there is still work to do. Fine, you will do it. But before you do, say, I am willing to soften around this. That is a beautiful beginning. We do not fight the problem, and we do not fight ourselves. We create enough space to think clearly and live more fully. Now, I sometimes like to think of the energy around us as a kind of light, an aura, if you like, reflecting the way we are meeting life. You do not have to make this mysterious. Simply notice what happens when you are tense. The eyes may become narrower, the voice becomes sharper or quieter, the shoulders pull inward. You walk into a room carrying the whole argument you had an hour ago, and people can often feel that. Then notice what happens when you soften. The face changes. The breath changes. The voice has more warmth in it. The body becomes more open. You become easier to approach because you are no longer bracing against the entire world. So imagine your aura as a gentle field of light around you, simply reflecting what is happening within. When you choose one kinder thought, the light softens. When you take one peaceful breath, the light becomes a little more spacious. When you stop criticizing yourself, the whole quality of your presence changes. Your inner atmosphere travels with you. This is wonderful news because it means you can influence the atmosphere you bring into a room before anything outside has been rearranged. Perhaps this morning your energy feels very tight. Fine. We do not make it wrong. Imagine that light around you becoming softer, warmer, more comfortable. Maybe it begins close to the body and then expands a little, not because you are trying to become some perfect, radiant person. We are not performing spirituality. We are simply creating a picture that helps the body remember ease. Say, I am allowed to take up space peacefully. Let the light around the shoulders expand. I am allowed to move through this day without carrying yesterday in every room. Let the light around the chest become warmer. I am available for kindness, ease, and pleasant surprises. And then go on with the day. Very simple. The image is only useful if it helps you live more gently. And this is important. Do not allow one problem to color your entire energy field. One difficult conversation is one conversation. One disappointment is one experience. One delay is one delay. We have such a habit of taking one thing and spreading it across the whole day. Something goes wrong at 9 o'clock, and by 6 in the evening we are saying, "This has been a terrible day." Was every minute terrible? No. Perhaps there was a good lunch. Perhaps somebody smiled at you. Perhaps one task went beautifully. Perhaps your body carried you through everything. One difficult event does not deserve ownership of the entire day. Say, this experience is not the whole of my energy. I want you to repeat that. This experience is not the whole of my energy. You can have a difficult morning and a lovely afternoon. You can receive disappointing news and still have a meaningful conversation later. You can be worried about money and still enjoy dinner. You can be uncertain about one relationship and still feel loved in another. Life is much larger than the one thing the mind keeps circling. So begin reclaiming your attention. If you have already thought about the same event 20 times and nothing new is being learned, perhaps say, "All right, I think we have covered this for now." Then turn towards something else. Look out the window. Do the next task. Put on music. Call someone you like. Attention is energy, and you are allowed to decide where some of that energy goes. This does not mean suppressing important things. If something requires action, take action. If a conversation needs to happen, have it. If a decision needs to be made, make it when you have enough information. But once you have done what you can for the moment, stop feeding the situation with endless repetition. We often think repetition will produce control. Instead, it produces exhaustion. You can care without continually rehearsing the problem. Imagine carrying a glass of water. If you hold it for a minute, no problem. If you hold it all day, the arm becomes tired. Many thoughts are like that. The thought itself may not be enormous, but we hold it too long. Put it down occasionally. You can pick it up later if it still needs attention. Meanwhile, let your energy return to the rest of life. And I want this teaching to stay very positive because there is so much available to you once you stop allowing one concern to occupy everything. There is creativity available. There is affection available. There is humor. There is beauty. There is food to taste, music to hear, people to appreciate, ideas to have. Your energy contains much more than worry. There is curiosity in you. There is resilience. There is the ability to enjoy something even while another part of life is unfinished. Let those parts have some room too. Perhaps place your hand on your heart for a moment and say, "There is room in me for peace and possibility." Then another, "There is room in me for joy even before everything is solved." And perhaps, "I am willing to let something feel good today." These are not promises that the day will contain no difficulty. They are permissions, and permissions can be very powerful because many of us have spent years waiting for someone else to tell us, "Now you may relax. Now you may enjoy yourself. Now you have done enough." You can begin giving yourself that permission. You may notice that as your inner state softens, your choices change too. You speak more kindly. You respond instead of reacting. You notice opportunities more easily. You become more receptive to people. This is one reason I think feeling a little better before everything improves is so practical. A softer state often creates better choices, and better choices can help create better experiences. We do not have to wait for the outside world to give us permission to begin that cycle. So today, do not ask yourself to become ecstatic. That is too much pressure. Ask for 5% softer, 5% lighter, one easier breath, one kinder thought, one moment where you stop replaying the problem and look at something beautiful instead. Little shifts count. A little lighter is lighter. A little calmer is calmer. A little more open is more open. We do not dismiss small changes, and if the old thought returns, fine. Say, "There you are again." Then come back to the new thought. This experience is not the whole of my energy. Perhaps there is still so much good in you that the problem cannot touch: your sense of humor, your creativity, your ability to love, your curiosity, your capacity to begin again. Let yourself remember those, so carry these words into the day. I give myself permission to feel a little lighter now. I am allowed to take up space peacefully. My inner atmosphere can become softer. This experience is not the whole of my energy. There is room in me for peace, possibility, and joy. You do not have to wait until everything gets better before you feel one good thing. Perhaps feeling one good thing is part of how better begins. Together, you and I are going to make this much simpler today. We are not going to demand that you leap from feeling heavy to feeling wonderful in one enormous jump. We are not going to tell the mind, you must be happy now, when it is clearly not ready for that. We are going to look for the next gentler place, the next softer feeling, the next state that your body can actually believe. You see, this is where people often make inner work much harder than it needs to be. They wake up feeling discouraged and immediately try to become joyful. They feel tense and demand peace. They feel exhausted and insist on enthusiasm. And then, when the great emotional leap does not happen, they decide they have failed. No, my dear, you have not failed simply because joy is too far away right now. Perhaps joy is not the next step. Perhaps the next step is relief. Perhaps it is steadiness. Perhaps it is simply, I feel a little less tight than I did 5 minutes ago. That counts. So begin with this question. What feeling is one gentle step above where I am now? Not the highest feeling you can imagine, the nearest one you can honestly reach. If you feel very heavy, perhaps the next state is stable. If you feel stable, perhaps the next is lighter. If you feel lighter, warmth may become available. And from warmth, joy often comes much more naturally, heavy, stable, light, warm, joyful. We do not skip the staircase because we are impatient to reach the top. We take the next step and let the next step support us. Suppose you wake up and everything feels like too much. Do not stand in front of the mirror and shout, I am ecstatic, everything is magnificent. If every cell in the body wants to argue, that creates resistance. Say something your system can receive. I am willing to feel a little more supported, or I am willing to let this morning become easier. That is enough. Perhaps you cannot reach happiness, but you can reach neutral. Neutral is wonderful when you have been overwhelmed. We do not give neutral enough respect. Nothing terrible is happening in this exact minute. That may be your bridge. Then later, this cup of tea is nice, a little warmer. Then perhaps someone makes you laugh, a little lighter. You see how naturally the energy begins to shift when you stop forcing it? You do not have to manufacture a feeling. You can move toward one, a little movement, a little willingness, a little softer thought. That is all. And sometimes the easiest way to change your state is to stop talking about the problem for a few minutes. Not because the problem is unimportant, not because we are pretending it does not exist. We are simply giving the whole system a little holiday from carrying it. I like to think of this as creating an energy oasis. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that is enough. You step away from the information, the telephone, the news, the conversation, the unanswered question, and you enter something that feels easier. Perhaps you sit near a window where the light is pleasant. Perhaps you put on a piece of music that changes the atmosphere immediately. Perhaps you step outside and look at a tree Perhaps you make something warm to drink. Perhaps you use a scent you love. Perhaps you simply sit in a quiet room and allow nothing to demand your attention for 5 minutes. This is not running away from life. This is restoring your ability to meet life. You know, people understand this perfectly when it comes to machines. If the telephone battery is nearly empty, we plug it in. We do not stand over it saying, "You should have more energy. What is wrong with you?" Yet we do this to ourselves constantly. We become depleted and then criticize ourselves for not having more to give. Well, perhaps you need to recharge. An energy oasis says, "For these 10 minutes, I am not solving anything. I am receiving." That is very different. Let your eyes receive beauty. Let your ears receive music. Let the body receive a comfortable chair. Let the breath become unhurried. Receiving is productive when what you need is restoration. Make these little oases easy to enter. If music helps you, create a short playlist that you already know softens you. If nature helps, know where the nearest tree, balcony, garden, or open window is. If fragrance helps, keep something simple nearby. If silence helps, protect a few minutes of it. We do not want relaxation to require 20 preparations. It should be accessible. Perhaps your oasis is the first 10 minutes after you arrive home. No telephone, no problem solving. You change clothes, wash your face, open the window, and let the day come off you a little. Perhaps it is 5 minutes before lunch. Perhaps it is sitting in the car for a moment before entering the house. A small pause can prevent one difficult moment from becoming the emotional tone of the next 6 hours. And while you are in this oasis, do not ask, "Is this working yet?" Please. That turns the oasis into another examination. Just be there. If after 5 minutes you feel 2% better, wonderful. If you simply stopped getting more tense, that is useful too. Sometimes stabilization is the shift. We are not always looking for fireworks. Peace can enter very quietly. Now, sometimes the mind cannot think its way into a better state because the body is carrying too much stillness, too much tension, too much stored energy. Then we move. Very simple. Walk around the room, stretch the arms, roll the shoulders, shake the hands, put on music, and move badly. I am very much in favor of moving badly if it makes you feel better. Nobody needs to score you. Let the body participate. Sometimes movement comes before the new thought. You do not always have to think yourself out of a state. Sometimes you walk yourself out of it. You stretch yourself out of it. You breathe and sway and loosen your shoulders until the mind finally says, "Oh, perhaps we are all right." Think of stagnant water. When water moves, it changes. The body can be similar. If you have been sitting for hours thinking the same thought, get up, change the physical pattern, walk to another room, Step outside. Stretch the spine. Shake out the hands as though you are dropping water from them. Let the legs move. I allow fresh energy to move through me. Say that while you move if you like, not because there is some magical correct movement, because the sentence gives the movement a direction. Fresh energy, fresh breath, fresh attention. Perhaps you are at work and cannot dance around the office. Fine. Roll the shoulders gently. Take a slightly longer walk to get water. Stand up for a minute. Feel the feet. Relax the jaw. A physical shift can be tiny and still helpful. And when you are at home, perhaps give yourself more freedom. Put on one song and let the body move however it wants. You do not have to call it exercise. You do not have to count calories. Movement can simply be permission for the body to feel alive. This is very important because many people associate movement only with correcting the body. I should exercise because I ate too much. I need to fix this part of myself. No, no. Let movement become companionship. Come on, body. Let's get some fresh energy moving. That is a much kinder relationship. You may walk because you want to feel clearer. Stretch because it feels good. Dance because the song is irresistible. The body does not have to be punished into vitality. It can be invited into it. And notice what happens after even 3 minutes of movement. The room may look different. The problem may still be there, but you are relating to it from another state. This is what we mean when we talk about energy. We are not making grand scientific claims about invisible fields. We are noticing the very real difference between being contracted and being more open. The eyes change, the voice changes, the breath changes, the way you stand changes, your willingness to engage with life changes. So I sometimes like to imagine an aura, a gentle field of light around the body, as a picture of this inner state. When you are tense, imagine the light very close to the body, perhaps dimmer, smaller, as though everything has pulled inward. There is nothing wrong with that. We simply notice. Then as you breathe, soften, move, receive some comfort. Imagine the light beginning to expand, not suddenly, gently. It becomes warmer around the shoulders, a little wider around the chest. It extends around the whole body with more ease. My energy expands gently as I soften within. I love the word gently here. We are not trying to blast the room with energy. We are allowing the presence to become less contracted. Imagine sitting quietly and feeling that light around you. Perhaps it begins as a soft glow close to the skin. Take a breath and let it expand a few inches. Another breath, a little more warmth. Perhaps the color becomes softer, richer, more pleasant. Say, my energy expands gently as I soften within. Let the shoulders drop. Let the face unclench. Let the belly stop holding itself so tightly. And perhaps you begin noticing that the body feels more available to the room, more available to people, more available to life. This is why feeling better does not need to be dramatic to change your presence. A person who has softened by 10% often speaks differently. They listen differently. They notice more. There is more room around their words. They are not entering every conversation already prepared to defend themselves. Softness can change the way you meet the world, and the world may respond differently because you are responding differently. Perhaps this morning you walk into the kitchen carrying a tense inner atmosphere. You notice it. Fine. Then, before speaking to anyone, take one breath and ask, what feeling is one gentle step above where I am now? Maybe it is patience. You do not need joy. Patience will do. So you choose a slightly warmer tone. That one choice changes the interaction. Then someone responds more warmly. Now the energy changes again. You see, inner shifts and outer experiences begin to interact. This is why I want you to become interested in small emotional steps rather than obsessed with dramatic transformation. Dramatic transformation is lovely when it happens, but ordinary transformation is what changes most days. You were irritated and became neutral. You were discouraged and became curious. You were tense and became more settled. You were closed and became willing. Willing is better than unwilling. Curious is lighter than hopeless. Relief is movement. Let yourself celebrate these small shifts. Suppose you are worried about something and cannot reach optimism. Try, I do not know what will happen, but I do not have to solve it in this minute. That may produce relief. Good. From relief perhaps comes, maybe I will have more information later, a little more space. Then, I have handled uncertain things before, a little steadier, and now perhaps you can continue with your day. We did not force joy. We created movement, or perhaps you are frustrated with yourself. Instead of jumping to, I adore everything about myself, you say, I am willing to stop criticizing myself for the next 10 minutes. Wonderful. That is the next frequency. Then perhaps, I did one thing well today. Then, actually, I am learning. See, the energy changes through believable steps. Believable thoughts are very useful thoughts. They create bridges. We are not trying to win an argument with ourselves. We are trying to make a little more room. And I want your energy oasis to help with this. Perhaps when you enter it, you use one of 5 things: light, sound, nature, scent, or stillness. Choose what actually works for you. Maybe sunlight changes everything. Sit there. Maybe music immediately opens the chest. Use it. Maybe plants or trees return you to yourself. Go look at them. Maybe a familiar scent signals comfort. Wonderful. Maybe quiet is the rarest luxury in your day. Protect it. You can even create a little physical corner at home that represents restoration. It does not have to be expensive. One chair, one blanket, one plant, one lamp, maybe a book. The point is not decoration. The point is that your system begins learning. When I sit here, I stop carrying everything for a few minutes. Over time, the place itself may begin to cue softness. That is lovely. Your environment can support the state you are practicing. And if you do not have a special place, use an ordinary one differently. The shower can be an oasis. The walk from the car can be an oasis. The first 5 minutes after everyone else is asleep can be an oasis. You carry the practice with you. Remember, we are not trying to escape reality. We are restoring the quality of attention with which we return to reality. This is especially important after receiving too much information. The mind was not designed to consume every problem in the world before breakfast. Be selective. There are times when turning off the screen is not avoidance, it is hygiene. You can care deeply without exposing yourself continuously to every source of stimulation. Your attention deserves boundaries too. Perhaps 10 quiet minutes gives you more clarity than another hour of scrolling. Then move the body. Let fresh energy circulate. You might say, I am willing to feel more alive in my body. Stretch, walk, shake, breathe. Then imagine the aura expanding again, a little wider, a little warmer, not because something supernatural must happen, but because the image helps organize your attention around openness rather than contraction. Imagine now that the light around you is not only larger but more welcoming. It does not protect you by building a wall. It supports you by helping you feel centered. You can be open and have boundaries. You can be warm and still say no. You can feel good without becoming available for everything. An expanded presence is not the same as an unprotected presence. This matters. We are not saying, let everyone into your energy. We are saying, let yourself occupy your own space more comfortably. Perhaps affirm, I belong in the space I occupy. Let the chest open a little. I do not need to shrink in order to feel safe. Let the shoulders settle. My energy expands gently as I soften within. And perhaps I bring warmth into the spaces I enter. Notice how these statements are not about impressing anyone. They are about presence. You may find that when you feel a little better, you make eye contact more easily. You speak more naturally. You become more curious about other people. You stop monitoring yourself so intensely. This is a very practical form of energy expansion. The attention moves from how am I doing to what is happening here. That creates connection. And please do not turn this into another goal where you think, my aura must be expanded all day. No. Some moments you will pull inward because you are tired. Fine. Rest. Sometimes privacy is exactly what you need. There is no correct size for your imaginary light. Use the image as feedback, not judgment. If you notice yourself contracted, ask, what would help me soften? Maybe you need space, not expansion. Respect that too. The goal is not constant openness. The goal is responsive self-awareness. Perhaps after a long meeting, your energy feels depleted. Do not demand enthusiasm. Go to your oasis. 5 minutes. No information. Breathe. Move the shoulders. Drink water. Then ask, what feeling is one gentle step above this? Maybe the answer is simply less drained. Fine. Perhaps you walk outside. The air feels good. Now you are a little more awake. Good. No drama. Yet the evening may now unfold very differently because you did not drag the meeting's energy through the rest of the day. Or perhaps something upsetting happens at noon. Instead of replaying it until bedtime, you deliberately create a transition. Walk for 10 minutes, put on music, change clothes, wash your hands and face. Imagine the old energy leaving with the water. Then visualize that warm field around you becoming fresh again. You can say, that moment is complete. I allow fresh energy to move through me, and then continue. We are learning not to make one moment permanent. You see, energy is influenced by attention, body, environment, interpretation, and choice. That is wonderful because it means you have many doors available. If thought feels stuck, use the body. If the body feels tired, use rest. If the room feels heavy, change the environment. If attention is trapped, give it something beautiful to notice. You do not need one perfect tool. You need several gentle options. And perhaps this is one of the most loving things you can learn, how to help yourself shift without criticizing the state you are leaving. We do not say, I hate feeling this way. We say, all right, this is where I am. What is one step lighter? We do not fight heaviness. We invite movement. We do not shame contraction. We create room. Change happens more easily when you stop insulting the starting point. So perhaps your sequence today is very simple. First, notice, I feel heavy. Fine. Second, choose the next reachable state. I would like to feel steady. Third, create an oasis. 5 minutes of something that supports you. Fourth, move the body even a little. Fifth, imagine the light expanding as the inner state softens. Then return to life. That is plenty. You do not have to spend hours managing your energy. You live, you notice, you adjust, you continue, and sometimes you forget. Fine. Then you remember again. Perhaps the greatest change comes when these small responses become natural. One day you notice yourself becoming overwhelmed, and without thinking very much, you get up and walk. Another day you realize you have been staring at the screen too long and you go outside for 5 minutes. Another time a problem begins taking over the whole emotional field and you hear yourself say, "No, this is one part of my day. That is wonderful. The new pattern is becoming familiar." What feeling is one gentle step above where I am now? Keep that question. If joy is available, wonderful. If warmth is available, take warmth. If lightness is available, take lightness. If all you can reach is steadiness, choose steadiness. Steadiness is beautiful, and remember your little oasis. You are allowed to step away from the noise long enough to return to yourself. Remember movement. I allow fresh energy to move through me. Let the body help. And remember the image of the aura, the warm field around you. My energy expands gently as I soften within. Perhaps imagine it now, just for a moment, a gentle light surrounding the whole body. You are not pushing it outward. It expands because there is less holding inside. The face is softer, the jaw is easier, the shoulders are lower, the chest has a little more room, the breath is moving. The field becomes warmer simply because you are no longer fighting yourself. And maybe you say, "I am available for a better feeling. I do not have to reach the highest feeling. I choose the next loving step. I give myself moments of restoration. I allow fresh energy to move through me. My presence becomes warmer as I become gentler with myself." Let that be your practice, not perfection, not constant positivity, movement, a little lighter, a little softer, a little more alive, a little more available to the good that is already here. And perhaps that is how your whole day begins to change, not because one enormous miracle suddenly removed every problem, but because you stopped asking one difficult state to become the permanent atmosphere of your life. You discovered you could move. You discovered you could pause. You discovered you could receive. You discovered that the body could help the mind. You discovered that your inner atmosphere could soften before the outer world became perfect. And once you know that, you have something very valuable. You have choice. I allow fresh energy to move through me. My energy expands gently as I soften within, and I am willing to feel just a little better now. What if you did not have to wait for the whole world around you to become brighter before you allowed your own energy to brighten? Think about that for a moment. We so often give our circumstances complete authority over our inner state. If the conversation goes well, then we relax. If the person behaves the way we hoped, then we open. If the money looks right, if the body feels right, if the schedule cooperates, if the answer arrives, then perhaps we permit ourselves to feel good. But what if you could begin from the other direction? What if you could say, I give myself permission to feel good before everything is resolved. Not perfectly good, not ecstatically good, just softer, warmer, a little more available to life. And one lovely way to play with this is through color. Imagine that the energy around you today has a color, not because we are measuring something scientifically, but because imagery can help the body understand what the mind is trying to create. Perhaps today you want peace, so you imagine a soft blue around you. Perhaps you want tenderness, so there is a warm pink. Perhaps you want vitality, so you choose a clear golden yellow. Perhaps you want simplicity and mental space, so you imagine white light, clean and gentle. There is no correct color. Let the body choose. Ask, what would feel good today? Maybe blue, fine. Maybe pink, fine. Maybe you change your mind after lunch, fine too. You are not decorating yourself for the universe. You are giving your nervous system an image of the quality you would like to practice. Let the color surround you softly, perhaps close to the skin at first, and then a little wider. If it is blue, let it feel like cool peace. If it is pink, let it feel like kindness. If it is yellow, let it feel like morning sunlight. If it is white, let it feel spacious and clear. And then go on with your day carrying that image very lightly. Now, as your energy begins to feel softer, I want you to remember that openness does not mean absorbing everything around you. This is so important. Some people are very sensitive to the moods of others. They walk into a room and immediately notice who is tense, who is upset, who is worried. That sensitivity can be beautiful. It can make you compassionate, but compassion does not mean carrying. You can care deeply and still remain in your own energy. Say that slowly. I can care deeply and still remain in my own energy. Imagine a gentle circle of light around you. It is not a wall. It is not cold. It does not shut love out. It simply reminds you, I am here and you are there. Love can move through the boundary. Kindness can move through it. Conversation can move through it. But you do not have to bring every mood, every worry, every tension into your own body and take it home. This can be such a relief. Suppose someone you love is having a difficult day. You can listen, you can be kind, you can offer help, and you can still breathe. You do not have to become as upset as they are to prove that you care. Sometimes we confuse empathy with emotional duplication. If you are sad, I must become sad too. If you are anxious, I must become anxious too. No, my dear. Perhaps the most helpful thing you can offer is a steady presence. Your calm does not betray another person's pain. Your calm may help create room around it. So imagine that soft circle of light again. You can reach out from love without leaving yourself behind. And after a difficult conversation, take a moment before you carry the entire thing into the next room. Perhaps ask very simply, what here is actually mine? Maybe some feeling belongs to you. Fine. Listen to it. Maybe part of what you are carrying belongs to the other person. Their fear, their frustration, their disappointment. You do not need to keep it in your body all evening. You can say, I release what is not mine to carry. No anger, no dramatic cutting of cords, just release. This belongs to their experience. I wish them well, and I return to myself. Perhaps wash your hands, step outside, change clothes, take 3 breaths. Let the body know that the interaction has ended. You know, we often come home physically, but do not come home energetically. The body is in the kitchen, but the mind is still in the meeting. The body is in bed, but the attention is still inside somebody else's reaction. So create a little transition. I am home now. Maybe say it aloud. That conversation is complete for today. Then notice what is yours, your room, your breath, your evening, your life. I release what is not mine to carry. And if part of the situation is yours, perhaps you can deal with that tomorrow from a clearer place. You do not have to drag the whole emotional crowd into bed with you. This is where compassion becomes such a beautiful frequency. Compassion is not harsh. Compassion does not say, you should be over this. It does not say, why are you still feeling that? It says, I see you. That is all. I see you. You are allowed to be here. We can move gently. These are very soothing words. If you feel upset, you do not have to pile criticism on top of the feeling. Perhaps you are disappointed. Fine. I see you. Perhaps you are tired. You are allowed to be here. Perhaps the day was too much. We can move gently. Notice how the energy around the feeling changes. The feeling may still be present, but now it is surrounded by kindness rather than resistance. And this is very important because we do not always need to change the feeling first. Sometimes we change the atmosphere around the feeling. That alone creates movement. Imagine a frightened child standing in a cold room, and then imagine the same child standing in a warm room with someone kind beside them. The child may still be frightened, but the experience is different. Compassion changes the environment inside you, and sometimes that is enough for the feeling to begin softening on its own. This is why I do not want you to become obsessed with high vibration. Please, no one needs another reason to judge themselves. You do not have to be cheerful every minute. You do not have to radiate golden light at the grocery store while you are tired and looking for toothpaste. Some days your energy will be lower. Fine. Maybe you did not sleep well. Maybe you have done too much. Maybe the body simply needs a quieter day. A low energy day is not a spiritual failure. It is a day. What matters is not whether you never dip, What matters is whether you know how to return. That is vibrational health to me. The ability to notice, soften, care, and come back. You get irritated. Fine. You return. You feel discouraged. Fine. You return. You have an anxious hour. Fine. You return. My energy does not need to be perfect to be worthy of love. Say that. My energy does not need to be perfect to be worthy of love. You do not have to earn kindness by maintaining a pleasant emotional temperature all day long. Some days, the most loving vibration is rest. Some days, it is honesty. Some days, it is saying no. Some days, it is laughter. Some days, it is quiet. There is no one correct state. We are learning responsiveness, not performance. You are not here to perform positivity. You are here to live lovingly. And very often, one small joy can change the climate inside you. I love small joys because they are available so often. A song comes on and the whole body remembers another mood. Someone says something funny and suddenly the chest opens. You take the first sip of your favorite drink and think, oh, that's nice. Do not dismiss that. Small joy is still joy. It may be the pivot point of the whole afternoon. Perhaps you have been thinking about something difficult for an hour, and then your dog does something ridiculous. Laugh. Do not say, I shouldn't be laughing, because the problem is still there. The problem will survive your laughter. Let the laughter move through you. Perhaps sunlight lands on the table beautifully. Notice it. Perhaps someone sends a sweet message. Let it reach you. I let small joy brighten my energy. That is such a useful affirmation because it gives permission for the little things to matter. We sometimes wait for enormous happiness and miss 20 tiny doors into feeling better. Music, warm water, a good smell, a clean bed, a funny conversation, fresh fruit, a quiet street, a few minutes with no demands. These things can shift the inner climate, not because they solve everything, but because they remind you that everything is not only the problem. So when one small joy appears, stay for a few seconds. Let the body register it. This feels good. That is all. You do not need to turn it into a gratitude ceremony. Just let it land. Pleasure that is received becomes part of your inner atmosphere. This is another way your energy begins to brighten. And now I want to give you a very simple aura cleansing visualization. Again, use it as imagery, not as something you have to believe literally. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Imagine a soft light above the crown of your head. Perhaps it is white, perhaps golden, perhaps whatever color you chose earlier. Let it begin moving slowly downward, not pushing, not scrubbing, just flowing. It moves across the head, the face, the throat, the shoulders. As it moves, Imagine that whatever feels heavy can simply loosen and fall away. You do not have to identify it. You do not need to name every thought. Just let the light move. Let it pass through the chest and back, through the arms and hands, down through the stomach and hips, down through the legs and feet. Imagine that heaviness drains away the way water carries dust from the skin. No struggle, no fighting. You do not have to battle energy in order to release it. Sometimes release can be gentle. Perhaps say, I release what is complete. Let the light continue. I release what does not belong to me. A little more. I allow my energy to return to harmony. And then imagine that the whole body is surrounded by a calm field of light, spacious, warm, quiet, not perfect, just yours. Notice how it feels to imagine yourself not crowded by everybody else's thoughts, everybody else's expectations, every conversation from the week, just you, breathing, present. I allow my energy to return to harmony. Harmony does not mean one note. It means different notes, finding a way to belong together. You can have excitement and calm. You can have uncertainty and hope. You can have tenderness and strength. You do not need one pure emotion to be whole. And if you like, choose the color again at the end of the visualization. Maybe the body wants something different now. Perhaps you started with white and now you want yellow. Wonderful. Let yellow bring warmth and vitality. Perhaps you want pink now because the body wants tenderness. Fine. Your inner state is allowed to change. You do not need to remain loyal to one mood because it was there this morning. Now let us gather some affirmations, not as commands, but as gentle directions. I give myself permission to feel good before everything is resolved. This is such an important one because it breaks the old agreement that joy must wait for perfect conditions. My energy is allowed to soften. You do not have to remain braced just because there is still something to handle. I choose thoughts that feel lighter in my body. Notice that. Not thoughts that sound impressive. Thoughts that feel lighter. I release energy that does not belong to me. You can care and still come home to yourself. I surround myself with love, warmth, and clarity. Let that be the tone you practice. I welcome joy without guilt. Let joy be innocent. And finally, my presence becomes brighter as I become kinder to myself. I think that last one is especially beautiful because it brings everything back to kindness. You do not brighten by pushing harder. You brighten by becoming less hostile toward yourself. You brighten by resting when you need rest. You brighten by receiving small pleasures. You brighten by setting boundaries. You brighten by not carrying what is not yours. Kindness changes the quality of your presence. And when you enter a room from that place, you do not have to impress anyone. You may simply feel more grounded. You listen better. You breathe better. Your face becomes more open. Your voice becomes warmer. That is enough. Your aura, if we use that image, becomes brighter because you are not using all your energy to fight yourself inside. Perhaps tomorrow morning you choose blue. You say, "Today I want peace." Then throughout the day, when something unsettles you, you imagine that blue returning around you. Maybe at lunch you need a little yellow because you feel flat. Add yellow. Perhaps in the evening you want soft pink. Let the colors become reminders of qualities you already know how to access: peace, warmth, joy, clarity. You do not need to chase these states. You invite them. And when someone else is upset, remember your boundary. I can care deeply and still remain in my own energy. After the conversation, I release what is not mine to carry. If you become hard on yourself, I see you. You are allowed to be here. We can move gently. If you feel low, my energy does not need to be perfect to be worthy of love. If something small makes you smile, I let small joy brighten my energy. And when you want to come back to yourself, I allow my energy to return to harmony. These are simple tools. That is what I like about them. You can use them in a car, in the bathroom at work, in the kitchen, before bed. You do not need an hour and special music and perfect silence. One sentence can be enough. One color, one breath, one little movement of attention back toward yourself. And please remember that feeling good is not a denial of difficulty. You can have something unresolved and still enjoy your lunch. You can have uncertainty and still wear something you love. You can have a difficult relationship and still laugh with a friend. Feeling good does not erase reality. It prevents one part of reality from stealing all the light. This is what I want you to practice. Letting good have equal permission to exist. If there is beauty, notice it. If there is relief, receive it. If there is love, let it in. If there is rest, take it. If there is a peaceful hour, do not question it. If there is laughter, laugh completely. Because every time you do this, you are reminding the body. Life is not only something I have to defend myself against. Life also contains things I can receive. And perhaps that is the deepest shift in energy, becoming more receptive to life itself, not waiting for all conditions to become perfect, not requiring every person to behave correctly, not demanding that every problem disappear first, simply saying, there is still room for light in me today. Maybe the circumstances are still changing. Fine. Maybe the answer has not arrived. Fine. Maybe somebody else is still in their mood. Fine. Your whole inner atmosphere does not have to follow them there. You can remain kind. You can remain centered. You can remain available to beauty. And if you lose that state, return. Return at 10 o'clock. Return after lunch. Return after the phone call. Return in the evening. You do not have to wait until tomorrow morning. This is your practice. Not never leaving yourself, but knowing the way back, a breath, a color, a boundary, a little joy, a loving sentence. Then you are home again. So perhaps today you say, I give myself permission to feel good before everything is resolved. My energy is allowed to soften. I choose thoughts that feel lighter in my body. I release energy that does not belong to me. I surround myself with love, warmth, and clarity. I welcome joy without guilt. My presence becomes brighter as I become kinder to myself. Let those words settle. Then choose your color. Maybe blue for peace, maybe pink for love, maybe yellow for joy, maybe white for clarity. Imagine it around you, warm and gentle. Let love pass through. Let what is not yours pass by. Let small joys enter. Let the day remain imperfect and still allow your own light to be alive. Because you do not have to wait for life to brighten before you brighten. Perhaps your softening is part of what makes the day brighter in the first place.